Yo, what's up everyone, Dustin2 here. I am back here with the 2024 India Geoguessr guide. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. I am sorry for having taken this long, but finally we are here exactly 1 year after I uploaded the 2023 guide video. So let's see what I have in store for you and let's get started. Alright, so first and foremost, we'll start off with the basics. Let's take a look at the map with the abbreviations of all the states and the Union territories. These are really important because sometimes you'll see them in brackets written in day-to-day signs, and if not that, you'll also be able to see them on the license plates. The first two letters of the license plates are the following for these states, so it's a good thing to start with, it's a good thing to learn. You never know when it's going to help. And I will have time stamped this hopefully, so you'll be able to only go through the things you want to learn in the future, so you don't have to watch the entire video again. Moving on. Alright, so next up is the topography map. Now this is really important because this gives you an idea of, let's say if you're in a very flat part, you just have to be in this general region up north, and although the borders aren't drawn here, I'm pretty sure everyone can make sense of where India is. It's the Himalayan range right here, which is obviously unique, and then there's mountains to the east, there's mountains to the west, and slight elevation in the middle. It's a good thing to remember in general, but it's not something that's going to improve your game a whole lot. So quickly moving on. Okay, alright, now a very important part, and shout out to Duskron for this map, and we'll be doing that shout out a few times in this video because he's done a great job making some good resources for the community. Now let's get into it. This number one, Tibetan, we won't see much in the game because Ladakh hasn't been covered yet. Same goes for northern Uttarakhand and northern Himachal. So let's focus on the stuff down here. Now, number three is Devanagari, which is obviously like Hindi, Marathi, Bihari, all these languages, but they all look the same. In short, they all look the same. And they are found in the regions in yellow, of course. The one thing is that Maharashtra has that infinity letter, like I mentioned last time. Number four is Gujarati in Gujarat. You won't have the lines on the top on this one, but the characters would look mostly like this. Now moving on to Bengali in the green colors, the one thing I don't agree with on this map is the fact that Meghalaya, which is this small state right here, I believe they mostly do not use Bengali. So maybe I would put that in a Hindi English category, but there might be some hints of it here and there, so take that with a grain of salt. Now this state is Odisha, and as I always say, the characters of Odia look like skulls, which, well, this character does as well. It's a unique one. Moving on to Karnataka in purple, you can recognize it with the horn on the right side, as mentioned before. Telangana and Andhra Pradesh use a common language called Telugu, which should be written here. Yep, there we go. And it just looks like a curvy southern language. Like that's the best way of putting it. It looks very similar to Kannada, but you can make out that Kannada is different from Telugu with this horn. Moving on to number 10, which is Tamil. The reason Tamil is different from all of these is because of the use of vertical lines in Tamil. Telugu and Kannada don't have a lot of vertical or horizontal lines for that matter, but Tamil has a lot of them. Now, Malayalam is an interesting mix of both this and this. You'll see a lot of curvy lines and a lot of straight lines as well. The one unique thing about both Malayalam and Tamil is that both of them use dots on the top. So keep that in mind. If you see a curvy language with dots on the top, it's most likely one of these two. That was a lot. Moving on. Oh, and yes, I forgot to mention, to practice all these languages, I've prepared a map specifically with all the languages in all the states. It's in the description along with all the other maps and info. So you can go there, practice, and have a good time. Now we move on to the spicy stuff. We're going to learn about some polls. This again is a document prepared by Duskron, so huge shout outs to him yet again. We will not go through the entire document. I will put the document in description if you want to go through it all. I will go through the most helpful and the most unique polls so that those maximize your scores, if that makes sense, without spending a lot of time. So let's do that. Now, these are obviously the generic ones. They, well, look like every other country pretty much, so not going to focus a lot on them. Gujarat has holy polls just like Romania, Hungary, Poland. We're going to remember that. Sometimes you can see them in Maharashtra, sometimes you can see them in Daman and Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, which is a union territory. Important to remember that it's not always Gujarat. Next up is Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. We have these Brazil type ladder poles, and yeah, it is pretty much just in those two states. Next up is Karnataka trident poles, horizontal thing joining the insulators pretty much and makes a trident. So good to remember. This is semi important, this is semi important, this one is really important. Goa pole, okay. So if you see like 2 on the top and 3 or 4 on the bottom with this specific like super wooden color, it is just Goa, GG, move on. Doesn't matter. It can't be anything else. Next, Tamil Nadu. Now this is really important because I did not mention this one in my last video, so might want to focus. The shape is pretty much like these generic ones, but the good thing about Tamil Nadu is that the side insulators are either on the same height as the central one or it might be higher than the central one. That's something you might want to remember. That is really helpful. Madhya Pradesh poles have this small triangle like this, like this, like this. Really, really helpful. Pretty much just Madhya Pradesh, but then you can see all the other percentages in the brackets as well when you look at this document for yourself. Again, Chhattisgarh has this trapezoid just like Madhya Pradesh had a triangle, making a trapezoidal shape right here. Punjab window poles, we've known them for a while. Very, very important. We have this window connected to the top insulator. Fun fact, you can find these in Haryana as well. But the thing with Haryana is that the side insulators won't look like this. It'll more be like the window is standing on a thing, well balanced, and then the insulators move. Like this thing isn't balanced or anything, it's just concrete below this. But in Haryana, you'll see a full-fledged like column upon which this will be standing. So keep an eye out for that. Yes, this is a Chandigarh specific pole top. We have this roughly a triangle, and then the Punjab pole top with this line on the bottom as well. This is unique, so always good to know. Moving on, yes, West Bengal. Super complicated poles, but they're not only West Bengal. You can kind of see some super complicated poles in Assam as well, or even Maharashtra sometimes. But yeah, if the landscape looks somewhat remotely close to Bangladesh and you see weird poles, then you can, well, pretty much send West Bengal. Andhra and Telangana, yes. So we discussed that both have the ladder thingies, right? How to differentiate between these two. This thing, when we have a gap between the concrete and this horizontal slit, it's most likely Andhra Pradesh. But when it's directly on the top and there's no concrete in the middle of this and the top insulator, then it is most likely going to be Telangana. Yeah, well, you can see it's 85% and 85%, so take that with a grain of salt. Of course, it's not 100%. In general, it works. Yeah, these are Kerala pole tops. These should most likely work. I haven't been able to find an exception for them, so these are good to keep in mind. We'll talk about this in a bit. Yes, Kerala ladder poles. So these ones weren't announced when my last video was released. So this is something you might want to take a look at. You have these ladders which are different from the Maharashtra and Gujarat ladders. Pretty distinct and a distinct top with a distinct material here and here as well. Good to remember. Kerala sticker, well, you have stickers in a lot of places, so we will talk about stickers later. Sikkim, okay, this is important. These cell phone towers in the middle of the mountains is mostly Sikkim, sometimes Arunachal Pradesh, but it's mostly going to be Sikkim, so it is a really good mirror. Nope, Assam pole top, yes, really, really important. The side insulators are pretty much the same as the generic pole tops, but then this L-shaped top insulator is kind of unique. And now these look like, well, a laughing face almost with this smiley face. So double smiley face. Both of these, all of these can be in Assam or Meghalaya. I have included them in a map as well, which I will talk about soon. And yeah, these are Meghalaya. These are important. What else is important? This is important. So remember what we talked about windows on the top of Punjab and Haryana poles. Well, if you see 2 windows on either side, it is going to be mostly Jharkhand. This is a really, really, really helpful one. As for Odisha, you can see like a horizontal fat slit kind of a thing. And this is pretty much Odisha. I am very confident about this one. And I think that might be it. Oh yes, this is what's left. So we talked about this in Telangana, right? The thing attached to the top and center directly with no gap with the concrete, essentially. You can find these in Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and I don't know why for some reason Uttarakhand as well, which is not written here. You can find it in Uttarakhand as well. So Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, very very common. Then Rajasthan, then Maharashtra, then Uttarakhand, in that order of appearance. And if you want to practice any of the ones that I have mentioned, again, I have a map in the description with the name of India Practice hyphen polls, most likely. So enjoy, get the highest scores on that, and moving on. Alrighty, so next up is architecture, and I did not have a document for this, so what I ended up doing was making a map of it, which of course is in the description, go and practice. But I've added 17 locations from different parts of the country to give you an idea of unique parts of architecture which are not too generic, right? So we'll start with the top. So we'll start with the flat parts first, which is this belt right here from Punjab, Rajasthan, UP, Bihar, this flat belt, Madhya Pradesh, okay, same thing. So you'll see a lot of red brick, like you see here on the right in Punjab, in Uttar Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and in western Bihar as well. Now, when it comes to Madhya Pradesh, you might see some of it in the northern parts, but it is not as common as I thought it was. So now we will discuss eastern Indo roofs, which look something like this. So you see, well, they look pretty much like Java roofs, don't they? So you can see them very commonly in Jharkhand, in Chhattisgarh, and in Madhya Pradesh as well, as we can see right there. So these are the common ones. You can see them in Odisha as well, but they're like not super common. That's why I didn't include it in Odisha. Moving on to architecture number three, or well, roof number three. It is the northeastern roof, which looks something like this. I guess it vaguely looks like Sumba roof. Well, not really actually. But I guess you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. They are basically like Bangladesh roofs. It's there, it is found in the entirety of Northeast. Like, even that is a similar type of a roof. Then, this again is a similar type of a triangular roof with the same material on the top. And then, same goes for Arunachal Pradesh, triangular roof with things on the top. Now, well, of course, you can say the same about here, which is Tripura has coverage, Meghalaya has coverage. They will also obviously have the same roofs. Moving on to Himachal and Uttarakhand. Now, I assumed they would have the same roofs as Northeast because of, latitude and mountain range. Turns out they don't. They have really specific architecture, which is this. You'll see a lot of green and yellow colors, both in the roofs and in the house colors. Like here you can see. I couldn't find like a good quality image real quick, so I just had to go with this one. You can see there's yellow there, and of course there's green and yellow here a bunch. And similarly in Himachal Pradesh, we can see it's these story houses with a lot of yellow in them. Like there's yellow, there's the green I was talking about, there's the green roof I was talking about, and here's a bunch of more green that I was talking about. So if it looks hilly and you see a lot of green and yellow stuff, you're most likely in these two states. If you see those triangular roofs, you're most likely in the northeast. We will talk about the northeast later properly with a proper guide, so don't worry about it. Moving on to southern architecture. Now, the best example for this is in Tamil Nadu. Is that you will see a lot of dark yellow and pink and purple and dark blue colors in the houses. That's a good example. See, like, it's almost colors that you wouldn't imagine in India, but in Sri Lanka. So that's why the vicinity with Sri Lanka kind of makes sense. You'll see a lot of color combinations that are that really pop out in terms of colors. Well, yeah. So Tamil Nadu has a bunch of them. Andhra Pradesh even has a bunch of really bright colors hitting your eyes. And same thing with Kerala, you can see a lot of this purple, green, pink color, a combination essentially, and then same thing with this. Now what's interesting is Goa, because Goa used to be a Portuguese colony. It also does obviously have those purple and dark blue and pink colors, like we discussed before, but you will also tend to see a lot more orange on the roofs, just like we had in Portugal. I did not find an orange roof pick really quick, as quick as I wanted to, so I just went with this image, which gives you a general idea of the southern architecture instead. And you can see I talked about the Goa pole. Here's the Goa pole. See how fitting. And obviously, if you might see some Portuguese written here and there, it is just going to be Goa, so keep that in mind. And yes, this map will yet again be available in the description for you to practice, so have fun. Right, and next up there is an even more important thing, which is the tuk-tuks or the auto rickshaws that we talk about. Now, there is a full-blown key and a map for you to take a look on your own. What I will do is just mention the most important things. So, if you see fully yellow tuk-tuks, which are these ones, I know the quality isn't great, but bear with me. It's only going to be Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and Tamil Nadu, nowhere else. Really important. If you see this black one, the black one is really common. You can see it Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, everywhere, even in the northeast. What is important is the green and yellow one, which is this guy right here on the left. It is present in Haryana, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, and West Bengal. Important. Also, the same guy is present in Bengaluru and in this city, which I forgot the name of. I am sorry, Keralites. Taxi instead of tuk-tuk. In Himachal, you'll see a lot of taxis, and in Sikkim, Meghalaya, and this one is Tripura, I believe, hopefully. So, yeah, most important. And moving on. Now, up next is something that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, except in the India Discord, we've had conversations about this before. It's the wind turbine density, essentially. Now, this map is not an ideal representation of what a Geoguessr player would need, so let me break it down. From my experience, the most amount of wind turbines that I've seen are in western Gujarat, which is correct with the red, in western Rajasthan, which is obviously correct as well. The next two most important ones are Tamil Nadu and this region of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. So there's a city called Hubli here, right? I have seen so many wind turbines north and east of Hubli in the central region along the border. Maharashtra, yes, okay, you can see them sometimes, but it's not the most common occurrence and it's not going to help you a lot. But let's say you know you're in Rajasthan and you see a wind turbine, that's going to help. If you know you're in Tamil Nadu and you see a wind turbine, that's going to help. If you're in Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, you see a wind turbine, that is absolutely massively going to help. This is a new one and I'm glad I found this map, so now we all know. Moving on. Alright. Next up, we're going to talk about some car meta, but not in its entirety, because in its entirety, it will take a 4-hour video on its own. So we'll just talk about some stuff that is, well, helpful. Remotely helpful, actually. Okay, so again, this is made by Duskron. Very well done. Boxy cars. Boxy cars look like this. We have a box in the front. The colors can change, the threadings can change, the designs can change. In general, we're talking about boxy cars. They are going to be in this red circle right here. Really, really important, because how many states even is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states barely will have the boxy car. The stuff to the east of this, sorry, I forgot to mention, boxy cars are also in Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Chennai, because these 3 cities got coverage along with all of this northern stuff. But the only 2 cars that can show up in these 3 cities is, I believe, the red one. The red one will only show up in big cities, 1, 2, 3, Delhi and parts of Punjab, I believe, and maybe one city of Gujarat or something. But these white cars, the old white cars, they can also show up in these cities and this entire part. And obviously all these other cars can also show up in this full red circular part. So yes, that is what I wanted to mention as a small point. Moving on. Alright, next up is something even more interesting, but a bit nerdy if I do say so myself, Tuskron. Of course he made this, and okay, one thing I would like to say here is I'm not the most well versed with this document and the trees in general, let alone palms. So I won't comment on this a lot. I will comment about a couple things. So I would suggest that if you really want to use this, I will put the link in the description, of course. Take your time, take a look at this, practice using a balanced AI generated India, and then only you'll be able to get the hang of it. The one important thing I would like to highlight is the red tree. which is, I believe, wait, which one is it? Is it this one? I think it is this one. Yes, this one right here. Palmyra palm. Now, this usually shows up in this region, Andhra, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu. The craziest part is that this tree shows up in Bihar as well. And the amount of times I have gone Andhra and Tamil Nadu on Bihar is crazy. So this is something you might want to keep in mind. If you get the feeling that it's a northern place and you see this palm, you are most likely going to be in Bihar, maybe a spell into Jharkhand at best. This is an important one, but the rest I do suggest that you take a look on your own. And yeah, moving on. Next up is perhaps the most exciting part of this video that I'm going to fully enjoy. Huge shoutouts to Casa and Alok for making a Northeast doc, because not a lot had been researched on Northeast up to this point. So let's take a look at this. Let's take our time on this. So Northeast is usually, well, we can consider West Bengal in this as well, as I mentioned in the architecture video, just for the sake of it, for the sake of simplicity. How to identify? Well, these fences are really common. I do have them in my niche metas coming up as well, so keep an eye out for that. These fences are really common in the Northeast. You can kind of see them in Kerala as well, so maybe take slight care of that. Concrete blocks, just like in Bhutan, you can see them in the Northeast. These roofs that I've already talked about in Assam and Meghalaya, you can see them all over Northeast India. Same thing here, but then these boxy things. Well, let me move it here. Yeah. So these boxes that are created on the side of the walls are a very Northeast thing. So this is a really good thing to know. This we've already talked about. Poles we have talked about. You can take a look at them in your own time in this doc. Obviously, it's in the description. The important thing in Meghalaya poles here is this guy right here with the black and white stripes. This is found in Meghalaya and one more state that I don't remember. Tripura, there we go. So Meghalaya and Tripura have these black and white striped bottom on the poles. Well, Tamil Nadu also has them, but it's starkly different, you can tell that. That is one thing you might want to know. Arunachal, well, pretty standard. We have this pole, this trident one, with a different material, of course, and then this is a standard one as well. Sikkim I've already talked about. Now this is important. Taxis in Meghalaya. These taxis are also found in Mumbai. So now all you have to judge is the elevation and the language. If it matches Northeast with this black taxi with yellow roof, you go Meghalaya. If it matches Hindi, Marathi, and it's a brownish soil area, then you go Maharashtra. Sikkim taxis are again very important, because either they will have yellow on the entire hood or they will have a yellow circle on them. They are unique to Sikkim, so this is a really powerful meta. Nagaland, yes, we have already discussed in the Tuk-tuks things that Nagaland has this black and yellow as well, so not going to spend a lot of time. This is important. If you know what Surabaya pavement is, this is really close to that. These tiled roads are really common in Assam, so keep an eye out for them. Next up is, well, something I would like to call a Bali equivalent of Indian roofs, with this stick sticking out of the top and the fancy design on the roof. Very common in Sikkim. Now the Mizoram language, I do have an example in the languages map as well, so people would be well versed with it by the time we reach this part of the video. But still, it remotely looks like Thai and Burmese in the way it's spoken, so maybe that should give you an idea. And then, well, okay, this is a unique letter in the Assamese script. I actually did not know this, so I'm learning with you all as well. We have this, see, the simple triangular letter is present in Bengali, but the one with the slash in its middle is, I guess, unique to Assam. Good find. Tripura Cam, not going to talk a lot about that, and yeah, that is it. So, huge document by Casa and Alok. And of course, this map is also available. You can access it through the doc in the description. It is a great map for practicing. I have used it myself. Again, huge shoutouts to them. Moving on. Okay, now we're getting into the territory where you are a nerd, basically. So these are the phone codes of India. If you want to take a look, yet again, it's available in the description. Take your time, enjoy. I am never going to learn those, but if you want to become an India main and you want to be #1 at everything related to India, sure, go ahead. No one plays Moving on India anyway, so it's not helpful at all, so I would not suggest learning this. Again, up to you. Okay, and now it is time for my favorite part of the video, which is niche mirrors, things that will improve your guesses on another level. First of all is Gurudwaras, as I mentioned in my last video as well. They look like Turkish minarets somewhat, but are made of marble and have this unique design. You will see them all over the state of Punjab. Number two is this sign with this exam called IELTS, which is unique to India, I believe. And these signs are going to be very, very common in Punjab, Chandigarh, Haryana, Delhi, maybe even UP, but I'm not too sure about UP. Next up is the electricity counters. These turquoise colors and the window in the middle. Really, really common in Punjab, Chandigarh, Haryana, and Delhi. That is it. Now for some Chandigarh mirrors, because, why not? Is these roundabouts. Really, really common, along with these yellow rectangular signs. Again, really, really common. And these blue rectangular signs that say the sectors written on them in this particular fashion. Really, really common. Next up is the yellow sticker with the fat black number in the middle. Unique to Chandigarh, won't find it anywhere else. And it is really, really common, so if you do see it, GG's. Okay, another old one is the, Udaipur black rocks on the side of the road. Really, really common. You'll see it very, very close to just this city, not the state. Now, similar things are seen in Ajmer and Jodhpur, but the color of those rocks would be much lighter. So, roughly that color, like that light brown color, is what you would see in those. But this is like proper dark rock color. So yeah, that is that. Okay, we'll get to that one at the end, and we'll get to that one at the end as well. First, let's go on with the normal ones. Yeah, so the Nagaland taxi that we talked about, you can see the same taxi pretty much in Mumbai as well, but as you can see, the vibe is completely different. Well, the language, the people, the everything is different, so should not be difficult. Yep, and this is the Yellow Lines Road, which is the NH30 through Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. You'll see yellow lines all across it. As I said before as well in the last video, you can see yellow lines on a lot of roads. Like there's a 45 in Madhya Pradesh somewhere here. You can see it there as well. But this road just looks unique. You just have to play it a few times. It is just unique straight up. So really helpful. Now this one, I couldn't find the best example for it, but so I just had to settle for this. It's a black paint. Now usually there are white colored numbers written inside this black sticker on these poles in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Tamil Nadu. These are the most common ones that use this black sticker. I would even go as far as to say Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu are the most common ones. Rarely you can see it in Telangana. So keep an eye out for them. They are helpful most of the times. Okay, this one also I did not mention in my last video. So I don't know how they do this, but these signs with yellow background and a black number on top along with some Telugu text. You don't only see it on the walls, you can see it on poles, you can see it on the most randomest things ever, but it's unique to Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So these signs, whether they be on walls, do we have a pole example here? We don't. But if you've played enough India, I can assure you have seen the same sign on a pole vertically instead of on a wall horizontally. If you're willing to learn these numbers, maybe the first 3-4 digits, you might even be able to region guess within these two states. But then again, that's like way way too ahead of the level we have on India in general. This is a new one as well. I don't think I mentioned this in my last video. So this specific region of Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, can I draw a circle here? Well, let's just imagine from Ballari to Guti to this place to this place to this place to this place. It's like a pentagon almost. This rough pentagon has a lot of these hills with these random rocks scattered over them. Like even on this side you can see those random rocks scattered. Even on that one. they just look super duper distinct. And this is like pretty much the best example you could find in the entirety of the games. I'm really glad I found this. This meta was found by Wolf Trekker, so shout out to Wolf Trekker. That too in the initial days, so that's where you see his experience. Just had to mention him because I do respect him a lot. Moving on. As the good old Karnataka yellow water tanks. People are bored of this already, I know, so I'll just move on. Tamil Nadu also has the yellow water tanks, but the crazy part of Tamil Nadu is this white, black, white pole marking that I have already mentioned, but it's always good to know, and for practice, of course, it is needed in this map. The yellow, black, yellow. Okay, it's on the pole in this instance, but you can also see it in. What else can you see it on? On signs too, I believe you can see it, and on trees, especially on trees, you can see it white, black, white. Very, very unique to Tamil Nadu. And now the craziest meta discovery of all time, which both Casa and me discovered in different states at the same time, is this guy right here. So this guy with a turban on a yellow background sign, this is actually an advertisement for Mungia cement. And this guy, you can see him in the entirety of Bihar and the entirety of Jharkhand. He is just famous like that. It's mainly because these two states are the only ones that show advertisements for this cement brand. And so, of course, if he's the brand ambassador, you will see him everywhere on those ads. Really, really strong meta because it's usually very difficult to differentiate Uttar Pradesh from Bihar and Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand and Bihar in themselves, and Madhya Pradesh for that matter. So this meta really solidifies Bihar and Jharkhand if you are confused. What is this? And yes, of course, we talked about the fences and the northeast dock. You can see those fences and these tiles both in the same picture in Assam. So this really is a good representation of an average Assam location. Of course, a map for practicing niche metas is also in the description. I will include each and every resource that I used in making this video in the description. If you've somehow made it to the end, thank you so much. Making this video took a lot of time, energy, patience, and whatnot. So I appreciate if you would like this video. Maybe comment something good, maybe comment something you learned that you had not known before. Shout out to each and every person that has made any of the documents or the images that I used in this video. And yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that you all have stuck around, even though I have not uploaded anything on this channel for 2 months. That being said, this is Dustin 2, over and out. Bye bye.